Hello everybody and good day. I am going to show you a little tutorial here on how to lay out a hall vanity with our cabinets. That's with Barker Cabinets. BarkerCabinets.com is our website. And let's get started. What I did was I took the liberty of drawing in our walls already. Right here we got an 80-inch long or 80-inch wide wall. This wall actually continues on this way, but I'm going to stop it right here just because I want the cabinet run to stop right there. On the left side, I got a wall, or an actual wall on this side. So I'm going to have the cabinets run into this wall, and I'm going to show you how to do that using fillers for the transition piece. And we got a plumbing coming out of the wall right here, starting at 33 inches from this side. I measured it off the wall here to the side of the starting of the plumbing, and then 48 inches all the way over to the end of the plumbing. Now the idea with this box right here, you don't have to draw this obviously, and obviously you can use graph paper. You don't have to use a computer program like I'm doing. But I just want this to be inside of the sink cabinet. Now, obviously, our sink cabinets have an open back, so you can just have the plumbing come in real simple, and it makes it a lot easier. So let's make sure we get that into the sink cabinet. I also drew in some other note here, which is basically a 32-inch to the center line of a heat vent. Now that heat vent's coming out of the floor, so we want to make sure that at least our partition or the sides of the cabinets are not intruding on that heat vent. Now, if they are, there is ways you just have to cut around the partitions, but I want to make installation pretty simple because these guys are going to want to get it done in and out. So anything you can do in layout stage at this stage is going to be great to save the guys a little bit of work on the end. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to put a base filler in here. And there's my filler. And I am going to make this thing look just a little bit more correct. Sorry. By putting the backer on that side, because that's going to attach to the cabinet. Now the idea here is you'd attach this filler to the cabinet and then slide it against the wall, attach it to the back wall, and you're good to go. Same thing here. So I got the filler. That's my transition piece. I always start with the fillers. Now I'm going to go do my finished in panel over here on the right side. That's over here. And what I want to do here is find a base finished in panel. And I'm going to apply that right there on the wall. Now, an important note here as we start bringing cabinets out. It looks like this customer wants 3-drawer base cabinets. Now, this is a friend of ours in the Portland area, so when I say customer, I mean just a local friend. So this is something that we're doing in trade. So the depth of this cabinet, now right now this is a 24-inch standard depth cabinet, 24 inches wide as well. That will change. Let's just say it's going to be this wide. But from the back of the cabinet to the front of the cabinet case, on a typical vanity, you're going to want it to be about 22 inches deep. You might be tempted to say, look, hey, let's go with a 24-inch deep cabinet, and that's really too much for vanity. So highly recommend staying at 22 inches in depth. That makes your in panels 22 and 5/8. And if you look at it right here, I'm using a shaker edge detail. We want about an 1/8 of an inch step back, and that creates a nice flush look. Do not try to make this equal to the face of the doors and drawer fronts. If you do that and your hinges are adjusted even just slightly, you're going to be off, and your eye is going to be drawn to that imperfection. So just be really careful on there. Always do an 1/8 of an inch step back. It looks perfect. You get it on site. You won't notice some hinge adjustments. You won't notice the drawer boxes or drawer fronts and stuff like that being adjusted and stuff. So little tip for you. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to put the 3-drawer stack. I want to kind of center the sink in between these two cabinets. And what I'm going to do here, move this over just a little bit. I left that at 24. So I just changed that depth to 22. Cabinet number 24 is now 22 inches in depth. Same thing here, cabinet number 25. That is going to be from the back to the front of the cabinet. That's 22 inches. There we go. Now, you're looking at the sink cabinet here. What do we do with a sink cabinet? Most likely you're going to be using a 2-door sink cabinet. You can use a 2-door, 1-drawer front, or false front sink cabinet as well. That's fine. Personally, I prefer just the single 2-door base cabinet. Looks like this. 2 doors on that guy. Now, obviously, this is a 36-inch. It comes out of my catalog. It's 36 inches, but our cabinets are fully custom. So I'm going to shrink this guy down. 24 inches is where I'm going on it, and that's a pretty standard size for a vanity sink. You could do 24. It usually is between 22 inches and 26 inches is your typical cabinet size for a sink, for vanity sink. I like to stay at 24. That's a default. Most sinks will fit into that cabinet. You can go to 22 inches. if you get tight on space, but I'd highly recommend staying at 24 inches. It might be a pain to try to get that sink installed there, especially if you're going to do an undermount sink. Definitely check the specs on your sink to ensure that that you're good to go. Okay, so I'm just going to center this guy up in here in between, and I'm going to increase the size of my 3-drawer stacks. So there we go. So I made sure these things are equal: 26 and 5/8, 26 and 5/8. So in some cases like this, if you're noticing, 26 and 5/8 is a 5/8 of an inch increment. Technically, we can build that if you really need it. You can request in the order notes, but our website's set up with 1/4 inch width increments. So what I would do here is I'd actually shrink these down to 26 and a half, and then I just have a little bit more space over on this side here. So this isn't a critical dimension, but it's just what they were going for. Okay, so I got a 24-inch wide sink cabinet there. I got 2 3-drawer base cabinets, and these are symmetrical. So it's basically a mirror image if you draw it down the line here. And let's take a look at 3D real quick. All right, cool. So this thing's drawing, rendering, a better way of saying it. Oh, that's nice. Didn't render very well. A hole right there. Okay, so moving on, you can see how it all looks and how it all kind of works together. We have real tight reveals for our cabinets, so pretty much the doors cover the entire face of the cabinet case. So just keep in mind, remember, you have a finished in panel on your right side. You have a wall filler, a base filler right here. I like to run them from the top of the cabinet case all the way down to the floor. Some people like to keep these pulled up by 4 inches and run your toe kick into the wall right there. You could do it either way. I think it looks a little bit better personally if you run them all the way, full height. If you get in on site and you're like, oh, I really don't like the way that looks, just chop it off. You have to chop off 4 inches of that on your saw there at home, and you're good to go. Same thing over here. I run this full height. I think that makes a nice transition piece because now you can just run your toe kick piece, your toe skin that we sell on our website. That's under millwork. You can run your toe skin right there along the face, and that'll make it the same color as the face of the cabinets. It also makes it look like a single cabinet was built rather than 3 separate cabinets because you have a single toe skin covering all the seams there. Obviously, your countertop's going to be made out of one piece as well, and then you're going to have, let's say you're doing granite here or tile or something like that. You can have your sink above that. Now, talking about heights, we already talked about the depths of the cabinets at 22 inches. The heights here, I'm leaving this one at 34 and a half. Now, the typical height for vanity sink cabinets is going to be somewhere around 32 inches. You can even go all the way up to 36 inches if you're really tall. Now, 34 and a half, after you put the countertop on it, is going to achieve right around 36, technically 35 and 3/4. But that's actually that's a good number because I'm tall. I'm like 6 feet 4 inches tall, so it's, I like to have stuff just a little bit higher up, so I'm not leaning over constantly. So definitely do that if you're shorter on the height scale here. Stick to a 32 inch. If you're taller, then go toward a 34 and a half and just keep it the standard height, and you'll be good to go. So that's pretty much it. It's just these 4 pieces or 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So anyway, it's just your filler. You have 3 cabinets, and then that. That's pretty much it. So just verify your measurements and make sure that you're not intruding on anything. The only other thing I could add on here is, let's say you have a doorway like right here. Just keep in mind that you have casing going around the door. So if that casing, let's say there's a door you're entering and exiting here. Let's say you have a 4-inch wide casing like right here. Just make sure it's not going into your cabinet. If that does happen, you can always reduce the depth of your cabinets just a little bit. You could probably get down to 21 inches if you really wanted to. But just remember, check your sink specs, because you don't want to get into a problem here where you get the cabinet smaller than 22 inches from back to front, and then your sink's too close to the front of the cabinet edge, or you don't have room for your faucets in the back. It's all those little things that you get complaints about after a while. So try to keep it at 22, but just remember your casing, make sure it looks right. That's pretty much it. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call or email. Thanks again. Have a great day.